Alright, welcome back to the channel. So I'm here today with a replay analysis of my top 4 run at Peak of the Beak 6. I've already done the deck profile, but here is the deck again. I do find that replays help me to get better, and I think that it's one of my most recommended ways for people to improve at the game, especially in Edison format where there's no ban list, there's no new cards. So the format is essentially locked, which means that if you keep studying a deck over and over again, you can actually become really good with it, even if you're not, let's say, naturally talented at Yu-Gi-Oh! If you just keep practicing the one punch, you can become really good at this format. So Frogs is a deck that I love. I love all the different variants of Frogs, and this one is what is considered Stun Frog Monarchs, mainly because of the Armored Sea Hunter guy. But really, it's just a classic Frog Monarch deck at the end of the day. Like if you remember the builds from 2010 that just threw a ton of tribute summons in the deck, some Treeborn Frogs, triple Soul Exchange, triple Econ, that type of thing. This is reminiscent of that, and I do think that this type of deck has a spot in the meta. But without getting too sidetracked here, why don't we just start off with round one? We have a lot to get through today. So there are 11 total replays because I did go to top 4. I was one game away from making it to the finals. So bear with me as there is going to be a lot to cover here. Okay, so round one is against Shankings? I'm not sure, but I'm just going to show my hand. All right, set Dupe Frog, pass. So if you're wondering why I set Dupe Frog here instead of going for the substitute play, I don't know what he's playing, right? It's round one. Even though replays are a part of this tournament, your round one opponent is going to be the only person that can really catch you by surprise. So I figure if he does anything too crazy, I do have Battle Fader and I do have the Crackback with like Substitute and stuff. And if I just set Dupe Frog, next turn I could do Substitute and do a full combo as opposed to just doing this turning into a Swap Frog. So yeah, if I kept the 2 dupes in hand, I'm really not a fan of just having 2 dupes in my hand. And this felt a little bit safer. Like imagine if this is GBs or something, he would have to attack into this, and if he wanted, he could attack into Marmilla, which I'm totally fine with. So yeah, this play is just safer, I think, with this particular hand. So as soon as he starts Malicious Edge, I knew that it's Hero Frogs. There's no other deck that really could be. I continue to draw a ton of frogs, but I don't feel too pressured here. So he's going in. I'm going to Battle Fader that. So I want to talk about the current game state here. He has a Treeborn Frog on the field. And what that means is that if I summon Lad, he can't drain my Lad. That's a really big deal. So because of that, I'm pretty sure here, yeah, we go summon Lad. I think this just makes sense. Like I could obviously Caius this, but he already has a second Treeborn Frog, so Caiusing doesn't really matter. Here, he is doing some misclick stuff, but the opposite is just set Ocean. So to me, it looked like he was setting up for, I don't know, like a Miracle Fusion or something. I'm not totally sure what's going on here, but my Lad is still very full, and I am just going to get in for damage. Activate Battle Fader. So they end up taking 2300. Bounce the Lad back, set Torrential. Yep, they go Ryza. I let this happen. So here, just Caius their guy, using my extra normal summon, so I special swap that turn. Torrential to Malicious Edge. Yep, there's the Miracle Fusion. And I guess that they're just going for a huge push here, but I do have another Battle Fader. This card is amazing in all matches, basically. Also, having Econ is really strong because you contribute to 0 and Light Dark Dragon will just negate it. So in the standby phase, he uses his Econ before I do anything, which I do think is a bit of a misplay. They could just wait until I try to leave standby phase to see what happens. But because they use theirs first, like because he just activated it as soon as I enter standby phase essentially, or brought back Treeborn Frog, I decided, all right, well, I'm just going to Econ after that and take your guy, attack you for a lot. Yep, and then we went into Substitute here. All right, this guy is amazing against Treeborn Frog because you actually can't bring the Treeborn Frog back if he beats it. So if he lets me attack this thing, yeah, and then I decide to save my guy instead, he has a protection effect. we're just going to go for game here. Yep. So yeah, he put it on best of 1 at first, so we have to like do rematches in between every single round. Okay, so our hand is substitute into swap frog. We have 2 monarchs, so getting Trooper Frog in the graveyard is extremely important. We have water art, which obviously I sided in. He chains crow. That crow really hurt because I water arted the swap frog. So I learned a valuable lesson here that if I'm going to do the water art play, that you should bounce the swap frog to your hand and summon this dupe frog out, and then water art the dupe frog just in case they have DD crow. I wasn't really expecting it, but I learned that this round, like immediately as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, okay, I see. I could have bounced my guy and used water art on my dupe frog instead. I think this is the first event where I'm really getting to use water art. But learning how to play that card the correct way has a bit of a learning curve. My opponent is doing the absolute most. He has so many cards. So yep, attacks over my guy. I get my Treeborn access again, which is really nice. So yeah, I do Chainlink 1, substitute, Chainlink 2 Torrential, make both his dupe frogs miss timing, clear all of his stuff, which is a really good trade for me. Then I also get my swap frog, attack, bounce, Arageki break, and all of a sudden, we're actually pretty even here. This is great. He's Miracle Fusion into a back row, which I'm not taking all of that damage from Absolute Zero. So I found a way to stabilize this game, which is nice because it looked really bad at first. I mean, it still looks kind of sketch. Soul Exchange, we're going to Caius, Karma Cut, sure. That should put back my Caius. Alright, so because he has a back row, he can't bring back Treeborn Frog, so I'm kind of just like, alright. This Cyber Dragon comes out of nowhere, Miracle Fusion, Arageki break, and I am dead. Yeah, that was a cool kill by Shank King. Alright, so now we open up Water Art with Treeborn Frog, and this is pretty broken. Unless they have DD Crow, of course, which let me just show hand since I saw their entire hand. So they have Battle Fader, Gores, Heavy, Caius, and Infernal Prodigy. So interesting they kept the Heavy Storm in. So what I'm trying to accomplish here is I want him to Caius me, and then I want to drop Gores on the Caius, because that is a really, really strong play. Especially, like, if they attack you directly with a Monarch in a mirror match and you drop Gores, it's really, really strong. So that's essentially what I'm trying to bait him into. But unfortunately, he top decks a fucking Vanity's Fiend. This was an insane top deck. But I am going to top deck better. So I draw a D Prison, which is amazing. Yep. So then he draws MST off the top, which is also insane. But again, I am still going to top deck better. Draw Arageki break. Yep. So this Vanity's Fiend is for sure dying now. This whole situation freaked me out a little bit because, again, I started this game off knowing their entire hand. And so for him to draw this Vanity's Fiend was literally the best possible outcome after I summoned the Kaiku and attacked with the attacked into his Battle Fader. Like this caught me way off guard, but luckily after games 1 and 2, or after game 1 I should say, my deck is very geared towards not getting Vanity's Fiend to death. Like I'm not just going to die to a straight Vanity's Fiend usually, unless I like get extremely unlucky. Right, so here's the play that I was trying to get earlier in the game. And I have double Treeborn Frog, so I didn't care about him Caiusing my guy. I actually wanted this to happen earlier, but we'll take it now. So I get a huge token. Yeah, Arageki breaks my guy. Now I rise at this because he doesn't have Treeborn access. So he's in a really awkward spot. Drawing a Caius. And I know about the Gores. So here I can just attack. He's obviously going to drop Gores. We're going to go set Torrential. All right, here goes a little swap action. Miracle Fusion, which this doesn't really hurt us. And they're going to Crow. All right, so both Treeborn Frogs are gone now. Soul Exchange for Lad. And it's time for beatdown mode. My hand is also insane because I have brain control and econ. So like, no matter how you slice it, this is, I feel like this game is unlosable now. Yep, they do all of this, but at the end of the day, brain control is just going to seal it. And that's game. All right, so that was round one. We did learn a couple things round one. Like I said, with Spiritual Water Art, there was that whole bit. And just, I felt like my deck was pretty good against Vanity's Fiend because I have several outs to it. As you can see, I have a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that can out there. I mean, also you can count Soul Exchanges and Brain Control as out to, for Vanity's Fiend too. So it's really hard for this deck to just flat out lose to Vanity's Fiend, and a big part of surviving in a tournament as a frog player is dealing with that card. Okay, moving on to round 2. Let me turn this off. We're up against Kakazoo. So now we're at the point where we know what our opponent's deck is because everyone was able to watch a round 1 replay. So he knows I'm on frogs, and we're going to see what he's on in a second. But my hand is really nice. Like, I actually just fully like this hand. It has so many different things you can do. I love when I have this guy set up with the Treeborn Frog. So charge, he's playing a plant deck, essentially. And yeah, this deck can be really annoying because Drill Warrior is good against frogs game 1. Like really, really, really good against frogs game 1. Especially if you don't play Raigeki Break, which I am not. So I opt to go for the Arm Sea Hunter here. I could have gone like Econ, take the Card Trooper, bring back Treeborn Frog, attack the tokens, rise up back row, but not a fan of using Monarchs on back row usually. And also, I feel like this guy gets insane value if I get to touch this Card Trooper. Like, it will be negated, it won't draw a card, and I'll deal 1400, and I still get to keep this combo in my hand, so that's what I'm doing. So he has D Prison, which is fine. I set Torrential. The reason why I'm not afraid to set Torrential here is because even if he just goes attack and doesn't do anything to proc my back row, I'm just going to go Soul Exchange, right? Like, I have a play regardless. So he does go summon, which it looked juicy for him to do so at this time. But Torrential was the perfect card here. I guess you could argue Mirror Force would have been really good too. Okay, so now we're back into like a really strong driver's seat position. I think this game goes south in a weird way. Like, it just starts to get away from me. But as you can see right now, I'm in a really good position. I get Dust Shooter from my Riser, which sucks. Dust Shoot, I mean, he just drew that, obviously. So that was kind of annoying because I was definitely going to rise at this Raikou here. Yeah, so he's just Raikouing, and I drew a Lad, which is extremely good. I honestly thought that this might get us there, like this might take us home, but you'll see it starts to just slowly get away. Takes 23. Summon Debris, Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2 is going to be Lad. Chainlink 3, Raigeki Break. Destroy your Lad. Discard Dandelion. It gets 2 tokens. I bring back my Dupe Frog. Goes into Black Rose Dragon, so they have all these fucking tokens now. But they use Black Rose Dragon's actual effect to put my Dupe Frog in attack mode, make it 0, deal a good amount of damage. I search Unifrog. So I have a Gores here, which is really good in this situation, I think. Yeah, kill 2 of these tokens. Tribute set for Gores. I think he just drew that, but that Lone Fire Blossom was insane. And this is where I found out that he's playing multiple copies of Titanium. I didn't know going into this that he was playing multiple copies, but Yeah, like I was actually surprised. Maybe I thought he was playing 2, but not 3. And I saw 1 vanish, and I saw 1 in the graveyard. So the third one caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit. And I drew Heavy Storm here, which is terrible. Yeah, this is a bad situation to be in. Of course, this card is just housing me at this point. Yep, and then the Caius just makes things worse. Soul Exchange, they're going to tribute Lone Fire, tribute for Caius. So there's trades here. So we're back in like, it's a bad spot, but we could draw out of this because we still have 2 more Caiuses, Rises. Like we have a ton of bombs still left in our deck if we just draw correctly. So he's put me on the clock. I have 1 turn to draw something right now, and I draw Lad, which is really bad. Yep, and this is going to be game. So yeah, we end up losing game 1 after a series of some unfortunate draws when we needed to draw like 1 of many cards, like really just a Monarch in that situation. And I think I had 6 left in deck. But this hand is really strong, like really strong. So yeah, we're just going to show both now. So I'll just keep it revealed for this game since we have the water art. But here's that situation again where like my opponent chains Crow. Luckily, I do have access to Treeborn Frog even after this resolves. So I discarded the Dust Shoot because if he Dust Shoots me, he would obviously take my Treeborn access, which is no bueno. His hand is terrible, like really bad. So I'm hoping that I can quickly capitalize on his hand being so bad, because this is a really bad hand for him. Nope, summons Lila. Sets 2. I know the back rows that he has, so go into Lad here. Brain Control, Chain, Call It a Haunted, Summon. Yep. So what he did, if you don't know, Lightsworn monsters on the end phase, when they go to mill, they keep trying until Lad can't negate anymore. So that's essentially what just happened. So Lad has no more negates at 800 attack. But I tribute for another one. And basically I'm saying, I don't think that you'll be able to deal with another one of this card. It took you a lot of tricks to get through the first one. I think that this one is just going to ride out. And that is essentially what happens. Yeah, this is big damage. So this puts him under Unifrog, which is why I summoned the Swap Frog here. Not to mention that I would have had 7 cards in my hand, so like, why not? But it also makes it where this is lethal. Yeah, so we win game 2. Okay, game 3. So my hand is really strong again. I have a ton of backer removal. I have Dark Dust Spirit, which is so good. So I choose the Soul Exchange immediately because I don't want to fuck around and find out. Yeah, this could just go really south if Titanium gets to walk. It's a lot of damage. I don't have any defense whatsoever. I'm not trying to get hit super hard. So I know this will get the Titanium off the field. This threatens a lot, and he can't risk it. So I know for a fact that if I play Soul Exchange, I elicit a response no matter what. And nothing really negates Substitute. Like, even if he had Oppression, I have the MST, right? So I don't think he would have Oppression in his deck, but like, let's say he did. He can't have Mask or Restrict either. Again, I have MST. So I'm not afraid to just summon Substitute into his back row because it literally can be anything. And if I hold this, I can use it for something like Mark of the Rose later or whatever. And also, he may commit another card, which means that Heavy Storm will be really good there. So if you're wondering why I did not MST his one back row. So they Raigeki break my MST, which is great. I got 2 cards out of him right there, which is really good. Like, my MST was a +1. So now all of a sudden they have 4, and I'm going to draw to 5 and also bring back Treeborn Frog for 6. So I'm in a really strong spot. Yep, so we draw into a Monarch, which we already have a Monarch. There's that Crow. So this time I used Heavy Storm because I couldn't risk pulling the rug. That is basically the logic of why I chose to do that, because here I don't have the confidence anymore that I'm not going to get screwed over by the back row. Whereas when I had the Substitute, I wasn't really afraid because there's nothing that could stop Substitute's effect that MST couldn't handle. But in that situation just now, could not risk it. Attack into the Raikou. There's no fear attacking into their face down monster in game 2. Like, I don't really think that it could be anything besides Raikou. Maybe a hamster, but even that I don't really care about because I have Ryza and Caius and Dark Dust. So I could have Dark Dust Spirited just now, but I was afraid that they would have Gores. So I opted to just go Rise to clear both tokens. And that way, like I can play around Gores, and next turn I could just summon Dark Dust Spirit or something. Here, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm still afraid that they could have Gores, so I'm trying to hit it. Potentially, like it's a 50-50 now. So I hit Brain Control, attack their monster. I'm not afraid of what their monster could be, because in this situation, there's no set monster they could have that would be good. There's not a single thing they could have right here that would be like threatening to my game plan. Draws Debris Dragon, goes into Black Rose, blows up the field, gets 2 tokens. Sets a back row. So now I know there is no Gores. Call it Horner for Titanial in my standby phase, and I have the perfect card. Dark Dust Spirit is OP against all plant decks. So yep, and I know the game is over now. I have 4 cards to their 0, so like there's no shot I'm losing this game now. I played it really, really well in terms of just getting it to this point where my opponent has nothing, and then Lag comes down to seal it after the Unifrog attack. Yeah. So that was that was against plants. All right, on to round 3. Okay, so round 3 we're playing against Vivi Cristo, and I believe they are on Blackwings. So I win the roll. I don't have Treeborn access, so sending MST doesn't hurt, and I know they're on Blackwings. So if they open up Whirlwind, I have MST to stop it. Yeah, I go into Battle Fader here because I don't have a choice. This game is going to be really weird, but watch how it plays out. So I end-phase MST, hoping to hit Icarus attack, because if I summon a Monarch here, they would be able to easily Icarus attack me. I hit Torrential, which is not bad. We go for Ryza. And yeah, so Ryza, spin back the Bora. The back row was Legacy. Attack Kalute. So I've drawn all 3 Battle Faders, which is crazy because I think this is like my second draw phase or something. Heavy, they had a Bottomless, which like the MST was never doing anything, but Bottomless would have just Bottomless my Dastalos, assumedly. Dastalos is really good here because I would assume that they're holding like a Blizzard or something in their hand, which is what I was trying to hit here. So I set this because of Blizzard, because I don't want to get Yugioh Guardian for free. Like that's where this is going, or where it could go. You know, they play 3 copies of Blizzard, but he doesn't have it. So we're just going to keep on attacking. We get Mirror Forced. They draw. So this is a situation that is very interesting. Our opponent summons Shura, attacks, and I Battle Fader. Now I have an Econ set, so I draw for turn. I draw Ryza, and initially I would just go, you know, like Brain Control, take your guy, Tribute for Lad. But once I drew the Ryza, I started thinking to myself, it could be really dangerous if I activate Brain Control and this is Icarus attack, because they get to Icarus both of these cards, so I lose Brain, the Econ, and the Battle Fader. And then I'm just stuck with a Ryza and a Lad in my hand, which would be awful. Like awful, awful, awful. So I decided to hold the Brain Control in my hand and just Tribute for Ryza. And yeah, they scoop. So that game was 5 minutes and 43 seconds. And this is going to be relevant in a second. So they draw and pass. They don't make a single play. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to summon swap, send my Treeborn, bounce it back to hand. I do have Gores. They drop Gores, which I'm not going to say it's unexpected in Blackwings, but like in this situation, I'm not really afraid of the Gores either. Like yeah, I'm not really afraid of their Gores. The only way I would be afraid of this Gores is if they also have Fossil Dyna on top of it. Whirlwind, Sirocco, search out Kalute. Attack for 27. I'm going to drop my own Gores. So I have this huge token now. But my opponent does set 3 back row, which is super annoying. So standby phase, we're going to go Econ, Tribute, take the Gores. He uses Solemn Judgment on that. And then we bring back Treeborn Frog. I choose not to use econ again here. I want to see what these back row are, so I'm kind of checking. Also, I was afraid of DDV. I was afraid that if I kept pushing the issue with econ, that they would activate Deck Devastation Virus, and then I would lose the Substitute without being able to summon it. So I was like, if I go summon Substitute as my first thing that I do in main phase with my priority, like you can do an action before your opponent can do anything once you are in a phase, once you first enter it. So I figure I'll summon Substitute and immediately activate the effect and see what happens. And so I get oppressed, which is like, okay, cool. Not really a big loss here. The True Frog was free. The Substitute is just the only card that's dying here for real. I chain econ on the Substitute before it can die to oppression to take his Sirocco. Now pay attention, their life points are low enough that any of these two will kill him if they get in. And I know he has a Clute in hand, so taking this is really good because they can't pump it to 3400, which is bigger than both my tokens. I can already beat this in battle. So his back row essentially needs to be Mirror Force specifically here, because if it's not, I just kind of cook. And I special summon Swap Frog. He oppresses, which means that now even Sirocco getting in his game. So basically, if it's a D prison back there, which is what I'm playing around D prison. I don't care about Mirror Force because I lose anyway. Like if they have that one card, I already accepted that I lose. But if it's anything other than Mirror Force, I win. So I go special to swap. He lowers himself to 1900, and he didn't have a choice either. Like if he doesn't oppress the swap, then it's still game if I get through, and it's like a D prison because I'll go attack here, they go D prison, I go attack here, attack here, attack here. So no matter what. Yeah, so I attack, they admit defeat, and then he says, very specific hand and you slow play too much. And I said, stay mad, and just by the way, you got cooked in 12 minutes. So my opponent said that I slow play too much, which I thought was really interesting because this entire set, when he clicked leave duel, right? Like when he lost the game, it was 12 minutes and 14 seconds. I just want to be clear here because I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Played a lot of tournaments. If you finish your entire round in 12 minutes at a YCS or at any real event, if you are done in 12 minutes, you're probably going to be the first person walking around with a match flip. 12 minutes is fucking insane to finish an entire round of Yu-Gi-Oh! So for him to say that I was a slow player and that I was slow playing him is really weird to me because this is one of the fastest matches that I had the entire tournament. Well, this was the fastest round. So I thought it was strange that like my opponent was mad that I took time to think. And even with me taking time to think, this was a 12-minute set. Like the entire set is over in 12 minutes, which is absolutely insane to me. So I just wanted to bring this up that like people just need better etiquette when they're playing in these online tournaments. This is just ridiculous and uncalled for. Like talking about very specific hand and you slow play too much. Like what do you mean very specific hand? And just to be clear, he has Deck Devastation Virus too. So like a lot of this shouldn't even have happened. If he just deck devied me like he was supposed to, I think he just wins this game 0 difficulty, but whatever. Like I really don't get it. The whole slow play route is strange. And then I have a treat for you guys because he started to DM me after this. So if you look here, so let me just expand this out a little bit so you can see, because this goes back to what I was saying about duelists just not having etiquette online. So this is us just discussing like, you know, getting into the match. Hey, what is your time zone? Maybe tomorrow we could play. I'll say, yeah, we could play now if you want. So this was at 10:50 p.m. my time. I said I'm EST. And so I wanted to play like now, but I'm also okay with tomorrow if they wanted to. And he's like, oh, well then you can host. I'm VV Cristo there. So he agrees to play at, you know, 11 p.m. basically, my time. I don't know what time zone he's in. So I say hosting, and after the duel. So I was hosting at 11:02, and by 11:15 we're done. Then he messages me out of nowhere and says, didn't want to play because I was eating, but game 2 too specific. And I was like, I beat you in 12 minutes. Relax, bro. And he's like bragging. I'm like, no, but you were rude for no reason at the end. Like, be for real. You got cooked in 12 minutes. That's slow play. He's like, if I had Dark Illusion or Mirror, I would have Protect, which I could tell English is not his first language. No big deal. He says it's because you knew it was DDV and you still think. And I'm like, huh? You solemned an econ. Like, to be clear, once he's played Solemn on my Econ, I didn't think he had DDV anymore because I assumed that he would just go chain DDV to Econ when I try to take his Gores. So I was actually assuming after that point, like, oh, he doesn't have Deck Devastation Virus, because why would you not DDV that? So then he goes, you were up 4 cards game 1 and you still think. Mind you, game 1 ended in 5 minutes, right? As we saw, game 1 was 5 minutes. So he's mad that I took time to think in game 1, even though the game took 5 minutes for me to win. He's like, you were up 4 cards game 1 and you still think. So I guess that if I'm up cards, I'm not supposed to think anymore is what he's saying, which I don't really agree with that. Like, I'm not really sure the logic here. And then he says, in any situation, you would have won game 2, even if I never Solemn. I do not agree. I go, okay, well, at the very least, you can get back to eating, which is just kind of like, you know, he said, oh, I didn't want to play, I was eating. He could have just said, we can play tomorrow. Like, I can't play tonight, we can play tomorrow. I was the one who was like, hey, I'm down to play now if you want. And he's like, oh, well then, host. So why would you agree to play if we have 2 hours, or we have 2 days to schedule the match? Like, you don't have to play right now. But if you're so concerned about like, oh, you were eating, then I'm like, you can get back to eating now. And he goes, set card was DDV and Solemn. And I'm just like, enjoy your night. Like, I don't, like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this conversation now? He's like, so if I didn't Solemn, you would have control both monsters and I was not rude. Again, very specific hand and you slow play too much. How is this not rude? And then he just leaves the duel. Like, how is this not rude? So I copy and paste like what he said before he left the duel without saying GG or anything like that, because this is rude to say to someone, especially when you lost in 12 minutes. And he said, when you have +5 versus the opponent, you don't need to overthink too much, especially if you got high life points. Game 1, you overthink to summon Ryza versus 1 set Insurer. Even if I had something, you have 1 set and 1 or 2 cards in hand versus 0 cards in my part aside from Shura. I was not mean to anyone recently last month, but understand I get mocked when my opponent has too much advantage and still asks or thumbs up to confirm when he already knows he won. So he thinks that I was mocking him by asking for responses on my plays and by thinking, which is insane to me. Like, this guy is fucking off the rails here. I don't know what is going on, but like all of this entire thing is just insane. Like, if I played Brain Control, which before I drew Ryza, that was going to be the play because it was the only play I had, then I would have lost to Icarus Attack if he has it. So obviously I'm going to think about like, what's the merit of Brain Controlling still? And what's the merit of just summoning Ryza and holding the Brain Control? Even still, that game ended in 5 minutes. He's like, hey, but don't confuse things. I never insulted you. Now this is 11 minutes later. So like, I stopped responding to him because I realized that there's no reasoning with somebody like this. Like, this is crazy. 11 minutes later, he goes, hey, but don't confuse things. I never insulted you. I complain about you slow playing in those specific situations, not like I have something against you. And I go, it's rude to say I slow play because I take a few seconds to think about my plays, but still finish game 1 in under 10 minutes and finished a full set in 12 minutes. That cannot be slow play. It is insulting to me for you to say that out of nowhere because I don't rush my turns. And he goes, let me ask, if I have 1 set, 1 monster with 1800, you have 4 cards and life point advantage. What were you thinking there? And I could explain to him, but at this point I realize I'm talking to a fucking wall. So I just ignore him and I'm not responding anymore. Like, I don't have to explain it. Like, go watch the replay. Like, you can watch the replay and see, or hopefully you can see, I don't know. But like, I'm not about to explain to you why I had to think on my play. Like, I'm allowed to think. The whole set concluded in 12 minutes. So there's no world where you can say I slow played you, and there's no world where you can rush me when, again, the entire set is done. We're probably the first people walking around with a match. In fact, I remember this night because when I checked the standings after beating him, I was literally the first person done in the entire 150 person tournament. This is the first, they announced the pairings, we scheduled our match and we played it. And because it was so fast, I was the first person with a 3-0 record in the tournament. So like, this entire thing, I'm like, I'm not talking to this guy anymore. He's being ridiculous. So that's that. But yeah, just when you're playing like dueling book tournaments or whatnot, all of this extra shit is not, it's just not necessary. Like, what are we doing here? So this is a teachable moment. But yeah, let's move on to round 4. This is against my teammate ProStorm. He won RBET Rulers in 2022 with Fairies. I think he was also the first person I ever saw play Legacy of Yatagarasu in a deck, at least in Edison format. And yeah, he's on Dragon Turbo. This is a really terrifying match for both of us. Me, because Dragon Turbo has inevitability on basically every deck. So if I don't get a strong start, then I lose because I'll give him extra turns. I can't really kill him fast with this deck. And he's afraid of Light Darkness Dragon, which does basically the same thing to him. Like, if I summon Lad, he probably just loses the game. I lose the die roll here, and it does. I'm pretty sure it matters. Maybe not, but he opens up Future Fusion, which game 1 is already basically chalked. Like, I do not think I'm going to win game 1. When he opens Future Fusion going first, and he has a Cards of Continents, there's probably going to be a trade-in of some sort. Okay, he's just going, oh. All right, so even with him opening just Future Fusion, Cards of Continents, summon, you know, Debris, Red Med, Prime Material, the problem with this for every deck in a format, and the reason why this deck is so terrifying, is because he has 4 cards on the field and he still has 6 cards in hand. He did all of this basically without committing actual card advantage. This is all free. So he's +4 on turn 1. Everyone starts out with 6 cards and he has 10. He has fucking 10. So like, even if I deal with all of this, right, he still has a full hand to play me with. So I special swap Frog, Econ Tribute, take Red Med, attack over his guy, Tribute, summon Ryza, spin the Future Fusion back to the top of his deck. And yeah, the problem is I now only have 3 cards to his 7, and he's going to draw to 8. So he's +5 on me when he draws for turn. Like, he has literally 5 more cards than I do. So I don't really see myself winning this game without a miracle. After the Pot of Avarice, it's basically just game because he has Future Fusion again. But we'll just watch this game to see how it all goes down. But you've seen enough Dragon Turbo, I'm sure, if you played this format. There's nothing special here that happens. It's just like I lose because of getting out-carded really fast. I'm fighting a good fight, but again, it doesn't matter much. I get Mirror Force, which I don't know if I knew that he played Mirror Force game 1, but that was a little like, oh shit moment. Like, I didn't expect that in game 1. Okay, game 2, we open up Spiritual Water Art, which is this matchup is one of the reasons why you side this card. This card is really good against this matchup. So I'm going to show his hand. All right, so his hand is basically unplayable, but if this White Stone goes to grave, trade-in becomes live, and then anything can happen. So I get rid of the trade-in and leave him with like a bunch of dead cards. Unfortunately, I don't have any pressure. So he just goes, fuck it, I'm just gonna do something. He doesn't have a dragon, so this just dies, which is like, okay. I don't really, this play is interesting. Like, I guess he was banking on my skill drain is going to ride out and I won't be able to deal with the skill drain. But yeah, we're going to Ryza here, and I'm sure, yeah, so he just immediately scoops. Okay, game 3. Set traps done. Let me hide this, but so I feel pretty confident here because I do have, like, you know, combo or whatnot. We're going to go in phase dust. He's going to trap stun it, which that was an amazing trade for him because, and you'll see why in a second. Summon Ryza. Now, let me turn this off. Sorry about that. So Future Fusion for a bunch of card advantage, and I am, of course, in a bad spot now. So game 1 and game 3 were both Future Fusion games, and he's just going off. I think he does make a slight misplay here where he discards a Super Rejuvenation from his hand for Brionic's effect, as opposed to playing it. Drop Gores. So yeah, I don't think he saw the Gores coming, but He bounces the Gorse to my hand, discards card destruction, bounces the token back to my hand, or, you know, makes it go away by discarding Super Rejuvenation. And he plays a Super Rejuvenation, but I think this is where he messed up. If he just, like, discarded anything else and used this second Rejuvenation, I don't think there's a shot that I could win. So here, my hand is not very strong. I get Solemn Judgment on my Caius, which I like all the tech choices that ProStorm made with this deck. Like, this is actually a really cool version of Dragon Turbo. So I set Trap Death Shoot and I don't activate it when he draws for turn, because I realized that the only way I have a shot in this game is if I get him to use Brionic on the set back row and then I chain it. So I do that. And he's like, damn, nice one. So let's look at the hand again, because now we can see it with Trap Death Shoot. So I put back the red med, and his hand is actually not very good now. Like, all of a sudden, he knows I have Gores, right? So all of a sudden, his hand isn't very good. In my life points, I'm at 47. So yeah, we're in a spot. So he upstarts, draws into trade in, which again isn't very good. And I think we just have like a little conversation. He says, I messed up last turn, needed to return Riser with one of those Brios. Then I could use the second Rejuve and win. And I was like, yeah, but I like your build a lot. And me just like, small talk. He's like, I'm ass, lol, no practice, punished. I was like, that's you and me both. I just play in tournaments. He's like, the Magical Stone Excavation is so risky here. I'm like, yeah, if you miss, you lose on the spot. So he goes Stone to play Pot. So he does not draw red med. If he draws red med, I just lose, right? He has the Drago in the grave. So here we're going to go Ryza, target the Future Fusion, because this is going to come out next turn. I cannot deal with this at all. Like, if this fucking thing comes out, I'm in a bad spot. He skill drains it. And then I attack over the Debris Dragon, because that is a dragon. The way I see it is, he's still in a position where he wants to draw red med. So, like, killing the Brio under skill drain doesn't really do anything. Brio is just a 2300 vanilla, whereas the Debris Dragon represents way more of a threat. So here comes the 5000 guy. And he plays Reckless, and he does draw into double red med, which means I am dead. He also trap stunned. So the trap stun makes it where skill drain is cut off for the turn, which means that these can activate their effects, which means he gets to play around Gores with Drago. So this is really well executed here. I got really lucky in general in this game, I think, because of him not seeing this card. Or when he did see it, I Trap Death Shooted it back. But yeah, so this is my first loss. So I am now, we're halfway through the tournament. It's 8 rounds of Swiss. And I am 3-1. And my only loss is to an undefeated who is my teammate, who's playing a really good deck, and he knows how to play it pretty well. So I'm feeling pretty confident. On to round 5. So this tournament is a little brutal because I played against a lot of frogs in this tournament. I'm pretty sure the next several rounds are going to be against frogs. So you'll get to see a lot of that gameplay if you ever were interested. All right, so we lose the roll. They go swaps and Treeborn bounce, and then they summon Dupe Frog, which is like, okay, they know it's a mirror match too. But yeah, I'm just going to summon my swap. There's no reason not to attack here. They Raigeki break, which I'm like, okay, sure. So I don't mind them going minus on a swap frog that I already sent the Treeborn Frog. Like, I feel pretty good there. Junk Synchro into Goyo Guardian and attack directly. So here, like, I just think my opponent's doing a lot unprovoked. Like, I'm not really doing any, I haven't done anything, and they're just summoning Goyo Guardians on me and shit. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to Econ, take this Goyo Guardian, tribute, summon Lad, negate this this Dupe Frog. So they're activating over and over again. Oh, I remember now. I think this is his first time playing frogs, or like he's new to it. He's been playing it for a week, because he was talking in the Edison Discord or something like that after the match, or maybe one of his earlier matches. I forget, because it's been a while now. But he's not a like frog player that plays the deck all the time or anything like that. So he bounces his Junk Synchro or his Swap Frog to his hand, and this guy is so good here. So I attack over and negate his Treeborn Frog. So he only has one Treeborn Frog, and right now it's negated. He takes the wrong amount off of Lad, which I didn't notice at first. And so we're going to realize that in a second, because he special summons Swap Frog, Brain Control, take my guy, and he's trying to basically do what I did to him and negate my Treeborn Frog permanently, which is like really bad for me. Or it could be bad. It's not necessarily it'll be bad, but like I assume that this turn he's going to get rid of my RMC Hunter, maybe for a Monarch or something. So, but yeah, this whole turn was really interesting. Ryza, spin my guy back to the top, which is fine with me because I do have Treeborn access and I have a Caius, so like I'm not worried. So he takes 1300 and I'm like, it's 800. And then he gains 1300, he corrects the life points. Okay, so here, Death Frog comes out, salvage. He could just beat over my guy, basically. So he's doing a lot. Thought Ruler beat over the Caius, which is actually really good, I think, because if I crash into the Thought Ruler, if the Thought Ruler kills the Lad, he'll gain 2800, which is a shit ton. I don't have an out to this right now either, so this is I'm in a bad spot. I draw another Lad, which is actually amazing. Although any Monarch, literally any Monarch here would have just been better. Like flat out, but we will take the second Lad. So same thing, he's gonna Treeborn Frog, drain my Lad all the way down, rips a Substitute. I can't be mad. But yeah, goes into full dupe block here. Set Torrential. He summons Junk Synchron, activates effect as Chainlink 1, Lad is Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3. I'm going to Torrential. So here's another moment where like he thought that his dupe frogs would activate, but they don't. So I said chain, swap comes out and Lad activates, thinking on Lad effect. He says, does it die? Swap. I said no. I said because it was chain link 1 junk. So like Torrential was chained to make the dupes miss timing basically. So your guy does come out. He's like, oh, I see. I let him know like you can bounce it if you want. He's like, I'll just bounce main phase 2 then. So during this match, I'm essentially showing my opponent like how frogs work, and this is when I realized that like he doesn't really play this deck often or whatnot, which is fine. Like people pick up decks all the time, and I think online tournaments are a great place to practice and learn them. So no hard feelings. Like he was taking the wrong amount off of Lad. He thought that dupe frog gets his effect after that torrential, and just yeah. So I get Ryzed, but it's just game. He realized that. All right, game 2. My hand is nice as long as this Treeborn Frog gets to the graveyard. Soul Exchange, sure. Substitute. I'm going to chain Torrential, so that dupe frog will miss timing. Did he not summon? Oh, okay, wait. I'm not even sure what just happened. Prio, Tribute Substitute. Okay, I think his Treeborn should be on the field. Summon Thestalos. Take Raigeki Break, attack for 24. At this point, I can't be afraid of Gores, if I'm being honest, just because, like, I'm not going to keep waiting. And I do have a good crackback for Gores, so as long as I don't die, I'm fine. Salvages for Substitute and Dupe Frog. So I'm probably getting dupe blocked again. Yep, full dupe block. Luckily, we already have a Caius and we have an Econ, so like none of this really matters. Yeah, and we're just going, this is 5,800 damage, so this game, it looks like there was no shot. I just had way too much advantage, and my opponent was very new to the deck. So moving on to the next round, which is against Sir Dorian. Oh, let me make sure I only show one. Take this off. All right, our hand is really good. This is the types of hands that you dream of. So Swap Frogs and Treeborn set Dust Shoot. I have Monarch access. Now let me show his hand since. So I sent back his Ryza. So his hand is pretty bad. honestly. Like, this is a bad hand now. It wasn't a bad hand, but it is now. Okay, so let's see what's happening here. So they set Treeborn and Econ. IMST. So what I should have done is I should have MST'd before bringing back Treeborn Frog. So this is my bad. Yeah, I should have MST'd before this actually hit the field. That way, this would just be dead, and I could rise at his Treeborn Frog, and he basically would just lose the game because he's just so behind. So I do this, I spin my own Treeborn Frog back, and I special summon Swap Frog, dump the Treeborn Frog that's on top of my deck. Attack for 34. Bounce. So at the time, I knew he didn't have a Monarch, so I was like, he doesn't have a Monarch. I don't necessarily know if he's going to draw one right now, so I'll just bounce the Swap Frog back to my hand, and I already have a second Monarch as follow-up, so I'm not too worried. But he does draw a Caius, which is a little scary. And remember, I know he has Battle Fader. So now he draws a Substitute, which makes things even more awkward. Bounces his Caius, summons out the Treeborn Frog with the extra normal. Brain Control, take your Swap Frog. So I took his Swap Frog specifically because I don't want him to start going summon Caius, bounce Caius back to my hand. That is obnoxious. I triple dupe. So this makes it where a Monarch doesn't deal with my field. So we Soul Exchange and Monarchs, which is fine. We go Soul Exchange his Caius, summon Rises, spin back a Dupe Frog, so now he's drawing Dupe Frog, which is always bad. We're going to bounce this Riser back to our hand. So here comes a track that I don't think I knew about. But I was like, all right, I don't really know like where this could be going. Brain Control, he's going to try to kill me. I've been holding that Battle Fader for a long time, and because his life points are low after playing Brain Control, I just activate the effect of Caius in my hand and just kind of say like I have game. And he realizes what that means, and we just go to game 2. Okay, so they draw and pass. They do not do anything turn 1. So I'll just go Swap Frog, attack. I have Brain Control, so I'm not afraid of Gores, really. I also have Deep Prison. I have Caius. I have Fader. So honestly, like, I don't really feel threatened. So yeah, this is a safe attack into Gores with this hand. They T-set. Bring back Treeborn Frog. Tribute for Caius. They Econ Tribute take my Caius, which is like, sure. Soul Exchange Vanity's Fiend. I'm going to summon and send my guy. Set Prison. Because like I don't need to Brain Control Vanity's Fiend this. I can just literally prison the Vanity's Fiend. So he attacks into it. Take 1,000 here, which is fine. Bring back Treeborn. I'm going to go into do full combo. The reason why I did this combo, by the way, the reason why I did this like because obviously if you're looking at my hand, you can see that I can summon Vanity's Fiend, right? And it's a guaranteed 2,400 damage. But I think in a mirror match, summoning Vanity's Fiend super early while your opponent has almost 6 cards, like he's going to draw to 6. I don't think it's that good. Personally, like I think that it's very easy to out. I want to whittle down resources. I want to get his life points lower. I want to make it like Vanity's Fiend when it comes down is going to stick. So here I just go into a Dupe Frog, Death Frog play. I can deal damage, and I already checked for Gores like earlier, so unless he just drew it, the Death Frog attack is safe. It's also a good amount of damage, honestly. Like this is real pressure. So he rises, attacks over my guy. Okay, so I didn't realize it at the time of the tournament, but I realized it immediately after the tournament because I watched the replay, and I had game right here. I'm going to see it on the following turn. So I'm going to do the play that wins the game. I'm going to do it on the following turn. So let's just watch what happens here, and then I'll basically explain. But if you look at what I have, you can see that I just have game right now. So he does this, makes Yugioh Guardian, takes my guy, passes. And then I'm going to go special, brain control, tribute for Vanity's Fiend, attack, and then attack directly. So last turn when he was at like 5,000 and some change, if I just go special summon swap, brain control your Ryza, tribute the Treatment Frog for Vanity's Fiend, that's 24, 24, and 1,000, which is 58. So he would have died last turn. So I didn't notice that until now, or I should say until like after the duel was over. But I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize that. And the reason why, for context, the Death Frog attack lowered my opponent's life points by 1,900, and I am not used to getting like these type of attacks off with this monster, and their life points just being in these weird spots where you just die to like brain control, Vanity's Fiend, special summon swap, like that play. Killing someone from 5,000 with frogs is not normal without Junk Synchron access usually, or like Miracle Fusion. So after I saw that, I was like, holy shit, this deck, like obviously brain control's evolved, the card is insane, but this deck can just randomly kill you if you drop the 5,000 at any point, because brain your Monarch, summon a Vanity's Fiend, and special auto swap, which is not even that like crazy to do, is just so much damage. Like 58 is a lot of damage. So I learned that here is another thing that I just added to like the frog mirror match knowledge, I guess, if you will. All right, moving on. Now we're up against Cody Vaughn. This is another mirror match. So this is the third one in a row. When die roll, this is an immediate misplay. I know he's playing frogs. We have replays. I should not have set this. I should have just passed. Because now look at it. If he rises this, I'm in a really bad spot. If he kaises this, I'm also in a bad spot. So it gets rised. I drop Gores. Now the Gores here is really strong. It's the situation I was talking about where like I love getting a Gores off on a 2400 monster. But I don't have Treeborn access and he does. So like we're already just fighting on the back foot, I feel like. I set my Treeborn Frog hoping that it just doesn't get tampered with here. Banishes my Gores, crashes into my token, and now I'm in the exact same spot that I was turn one, where I have this awkward Treeborn Frog sitting on the field, and I needed to draw like a substitute to clear it or something, and I didn't. So yeah, being punished for not passing turn one here. We get Caiused. We're going to drop Fader, and then we're going to Caius his Caius. Attack for 24, and he is going to drop Gores, which is like, holy shit, I did not think he had that. So yeah, now I get ladded, and Lad is broken right here because I don't have Treeborn access. So all of this is from my turn one display. Okay, moving on to game two. So I lost game one. Treeborn access. Nothing to really see here. He's going to mirror it. Sets a back row though. So I opt to not bring back Treeborn because I just don't want to risk losing it here. There's no reason to put it on the field. If I put the Treeborn on the field and he has like Soul Exchange Kai's or Brain Control Kai's or any of that bullshit, I'm going to be sick. So yeah, I don't want to risk it. So I'm just going to summon Kaiku here. He activates Dust Shoot on the Kaiku. So like, I'm in main phase here. So I attack. Also can't, again, I can't be afraid of Gores here. I just have to play. But yeah, banish out this Treeborn Frog. I think he might have been trying to mind game me. I'm not sure. But maybe if he says like, oh, I'll Dust Shoot you before you enter battle phase, maybe he's thinking you'll be afraid of Gores and you want to attack. But my hand is not the worst into a Gores, to be honest, and I really want to get that Treeborn Frog banished, so I do. I set Regeki Break because I was afraid of him having brain control, of course. And I don't want him to banish my Treeborn Frog. The other thing is that I knew he sided this card, but like he has to draw it. And I also have to side in my Kaiku and see it and banish his guy for this to matter. I was really tilted here when this happened because like, I do not think this is a very good side deck card for frogs personally. I understand why people side it, but I do think that it is a bit of a trap. Like, this is assuming that your frogs get banished, and that just doesn't happen often. It like just does not. So siding this is just really to me, just not a good idea. But the fact that he had it when it mattered the most, because like he would be really, really bad in a bad spot right now if he did not have this, which is kind of funny. But I just do not agree with DDR. I think that what happened here is that this was like a best case scenario where he had the DDR when I had my one Kaiku. Because if you looked at my side deck, the only way I can actually banish a Treeborn Frog really is with Kaiku. So I don't even have a way for his burial to proc. This is the only way that I can banish his shit unless he attacked into a deep prison, but like that's a meme. But this is the only way I can banish his Treeborn Frog. So for him to draw the burial when I draw my one Kaiku, that's why I was on tilt. Like that shit really tilted me. Anyway, so we're here attacking with a Caius. I'm not letting that happen. Discarded Lad. Since he has Treeborn access again, Lad is probably not going to be very useful in this match. Here's the Vanity's Fiend. Time to play the Vanity's Fiend minigame. So brain control, take your Vanity's Fiend, attack. Tribute for Ryza, it gets Regeki Breaked. So we're doing this little shuffle. Destalo's super nice here. And my opponent's also dead. If he doesn't have Battle Fader. Put this in attack mode. So I like Econ when you're going for like lethal lines. Putting Treeborn in attack mode in a mirror match is really strong. My opponent's at 28. This is 3,300 worth of damage against the Treeborn Frog. And I Destalos him to try to hit like, because I know he has Swap Frog because he bounced it. So I was trying to hit if he had a Battle Fader or something. He ends up having fucking Tragodia, so I missed. And the good thing is I know that he has just a Swap Frog. So like, I'm scared because he could draw a Monarch here and I'm basically just cooked. So yeah, I bounced the Destalos to my hand because I'm like, fuck it. Like hopefully if they do draw a Monarch, then they're stuck with the Swap Frog in their hand if they draw a Monarch, right? So Destalos will get the Swap Frog out their hand and I'll be able to crash into the Monarch. So he draws, and it looks like he doesn't have a Monarch, so we're going to go with Destalos. He does rip a Caius. And I'll rip a Ryza. So that was terrifying. That entire game was ridiculous. I said, what a duel. Okay, so Substitute, Swap, Pass. I have Water Art plus Treeborn Frog. He does the whole Substitute Boogie. So he has multiple substitutes this game. Right, yeah. He saw multiple substitutes. Okay, I get dupe blocked. So let's see. Let's look at the hand. So his hand has double Vanity's Fiend, which is terrifying because I actually don't have an out for it right now. I do have a lot of outs in my deck, but I don't have one right now, so it's really, a little scary. I think for a while here, he has a lot of problematic cards. I'm doing this on my draw phase too. So like, I didn't activate Water Art until he passed, basically. And looking at his hand, the only thing I can think about is like, I just don't want to get Vanity's Fiend. So I get rid of one, and we're hoping that we'll just deal with the second one. The good thing is I'm going to Ryza him, so he's going to keep this exact same setup, right? Like, so he has the exact same setup now. So he sets the Dupe Frog. I'm going to Ryza him again. So basically, he hasn't drawn a new card. And like he's been playing with the same hand for 3 turns. And he's not setting Mirror Force. I guess he's afraid that like, maybe, because if he sets it, I know it's Mirror Force. That's the first thing. Like if he puts that down, it's the only spell trap he has. So I know for a fact it's Mirror Force. So I could like Caius it or MST it or whatever, right? Like guaranteed. Also, I think he feels kind of safe with his Dupe Frogs on the field. Like he doesn't feel threatened. Also, he left a Treeborn Frog in the deck, which I think is smart because if I kill a Dupe Frog, it will allow him to search his deck. And that's relevant because like if you go Ryza, if I spin a Dupe Frog and attack a Dupe Frog, then the one that I spun to the top gets shuffled away if I attack this because he has a valid target to search in his main deck. So that's why I think he left a Treeborn Frog. And even if he was just playing around Soul Release, it's still a good idea to leave a frog in deck so that Dupe Frog can search. So here we summon Dastalos, and we hit Mirror Force, which is really good. Honestly, in this exact situation though, I would have much preferred to hit Battle Fader, just because I know that he has Mirror Force and it's his only spell and trap. So like I can bounce a Ryza to my hand and I can make him redraw Mirror Force. Whereas Battle Fader I can't really do anything about. So I was really trying to hit Battle Fader here or Vanity's Fiend, just so that shit never becomes a problem, because he still has hand, like his setup right now, if he draws a Brain Control or Econ, is a little dangerous for me. I also, if you're wondering why I was doing this, I was waiting until I drew a defensive card too. Like while I was going Ryza, spin, don't attack, Ryza, spin, don't attack. I was waiting for this moment where not only have I advanced on the board, but I wanted to draw something defensive, like some kind of trap card, just in case. So now we get in for some damage. I bounce the Ryza to my hand, set Dust Shoot. So he draws Tragodia for turn, which was annoying. I was thinking for a while here. I'm not sure if Tragodia was the right thing to take. The situation is extremely like complex, but I think I could take like Battle Fader away, because then his play is, if I get rid of Battle Fader, Tragodia, he could go like summon, swap Frog, attack into a Monarch, drop Tragodia, but then the Tragodia will be 24. I was probably worried about him going main phase 2, use Vanity's Fiend to steal my Monarch or something. But then I think I overthought the situation, because if he does that, then Tragodia gets even lower. So I think I didn't really analyze the situation after the game that much. I looked at it and I was like, I remember thinking for a long time on this. And I think if I just put away the Battle Fader, I don't think there's much he could do to like the impending doom of my Ryza coming down. But if he summons Vanity's Fiend and just passes, then I can't bring back Treeborn Frog, and it's kind of awkward. This situation is extremely like, this was a crazy one. So he's stuck with the exact same cards for a 4th turn in a row, if you think about it, because the card he drew, I put it away. So he's been playing with this exact same hand for like 4 turns. Tributes for Vanity's Fiend, attacks. So this is awkward for me, because I could spin the Vanity's Fiend back to the top of his deck, right? Like I could tribute my Monarch to spin his Vanity's Fiend to the top, but like I know he has Battle Fader. So I forced the Battle Fader out of his hand. And now, obviously, he's just going to summon Vanity's Fiend again, crash. So yeah, we're just going to get in for a little bit of damage here. Cracks over my Dupe Frog. I search out a Swap Frog, which is really good, because I can now special summon Swap Frog and bounce the Dastalos to my hand if I wanted to. So I was really happy here when he did this, because he walled up. He used basically all of his cards to do this, which made me feel like I can't lose the game now. Like once he did this, I felt like there was no way I could lose, because I just have so much more advantage and I have a lot of life points. So barring a disaster, like I can't lose the game and I have Torrential set. So kill the 2 guys. Now he only has 2 cards to my 6. Yeah, so I feel like I just can't lose the game now. Bounce Dastalos. He draws, sets a back row. I don't know what this is. It's Karma Cut of all things, which I think was actually a fucking insane top deck. Like that was insane. That was an insane. If he drew like a Monarch here, I have Torrential and I have the Dastalos to win the game, right? Like if basically he procs this Torrential, he loses on the spot. This, however, him top decking Karma Cut made it extremely awkward. Like extremely awkward for me. Because now I can't like summoning a Dastalos here. 1 doesn't do anything. He doesn't have a fucking hand. And summoning Death Frog here is also awkward, because if I have to Torrential, if he draws a Monarch, then like I don't have Treeborn access, and it's just weird. And he could top deck like a Vanity's Fiend or whatever. This whole thing got so out of hand. So I'm really, really afraid at this point, because he drew specifically that. Like that Karma Cut is, I think, the best card he could have drawn. I don't think there's anything he could have drawn better than that just now. There is the Vanity Fiend too. Holy shit. So he does play 3. And once I drew a Geki Brick, I was like, all right, now I feel a little bit more confident. So here we're going to go special, Econ, Tribute, take your guy, summon Vanity Fiend, attack for game. So like I said, it got to a point where I really couldn't lose, but I was a little nervous when he Karma Cutted my Tremor Frog out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit, that was a top deck. But we still got there. So at this point, I've played 3 straight Frog Mirror matches. I am 6-1 going into round 8. All right, so this is round 8. So at this point, I'm guaranteed making top cut because it's top 16, and my only loss at the time was undefeated Pro Storm, and he actually won his next couple rounds. So going into round 8, I'm playing against Daime, who was undefeated at the time. So I actually got paired up, I'm pretty sure, because yeah, Daime was undefeated in Swiss. So I'm 6-1 and he is 7-0. So no matter what, I'm going to top. Like no matter what happens in this match, I'm going to top. So I was really happy. I was like, okay, cool. This is like just a game to play. And he's a good player. He's a good Frog player. Okay, so I brick. This is probably the only other brick I drew this tournament. The other one was against the Blackwing player, where I opened up triple Battle Fader, but like I ended up winning that game in 5 minutes, just because the Battle Faders and Monarchs held it down without the Treeborn. But this hand is not good, and he's playing Hero Frogs, which Hero Frogs bricks less than regular Frog decks because it has 3 Stratos on top of the 6 Treeborn Frogs with Swap Frog and Substoad. So like, yeah, if you brick against Hero Frogs, it is really bad. So yeah, I dust shoot him when he enters battle phase. That way I can drop this when he attacks. He rises it. I still don't have Treeborn access. Yeah, so I am basically just not really playing the game. Kaya, special summon, attack, attack. And then we're going to bounce the Kayas to our hand and pray. So now all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I'm down a lot, right? Like I'm down horrendous in terms of card advantage, but I'm full on life points. And my opponent is at 46. So he rises my Swap Frog, which is really, really bad for me because like my hand already wasn't that good. Dust Shoot puts away my card. Yeah. Yep, adds back Stratos. I don't think this matters much, but special summon swap, and I'm just like, all right, I've seen enough. Rough start for me. All right, on to game 2. This game is crazy too. So I don't brick at least. Drop Gores on the 1000. The reason why I'm dropping Gores here is because I have Substitute to convert this weak ass token. So we're going to attack for a lot. He doesn't want the Gores attack to go through, which I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I have a lot of cards now. Like I have 8 total cards to his 4. He's going to draw to 5 and then bring back 2 more Frog for 6. But I'm going to have 8 to 6, which is really good. So yeah, we make this field. Yeah, this is a good situation because like even if he goes Monarch your back row, which I don't think he would, but if he did, I still have Dupe Frog as a defense. Like he has to attack this. So he Kai's the Dupe Frog. He's going to attack the Death Frog. I'm going to deprison it so that I can get my Treeborn back. Sets a back row. I draw a Water Art, which is amazing. Summon swap, bounce to my hand. So I set Mirror Force and set Spiritual Water Art. I was playing around Torrential Tribute. That's the reason why I didn't use my extra normal summon here. This happens to be Torrential Tribute. So I didn't see it because I did not see his hand, but I could just tell. So I wasn't taking the bait here. Also, yeah, this game is just, this is going to be a crazy game. So he rotates for Junk Synchron, brings back swap, attacks over my guy. I'm going to Water Art, so let's just show both hands now. So his hand is bad. This is not a good hand. This is not what he wants to see. And I almost feel like the Water Art at this point is not really doing much except showing me that he has a bad hand, right? Like no matter what I take here is not really, like I'm going to take Swap Frog. Because taking Malicious is a joke, and also Treeborn. But we're in a weird spot just because he has a Junk Synchron, and like that card is annoying if you don't check it. So I summoned Swap Frog here, and he Torrentials, which I'm fine with. My hand is still really good. Like I still have Caius and shit I just drew. But the awkward part now is like, if he doesn't attack me, right, then I can't proc this Mirror Force. So we go summon, bring back, and then he doesn't attack. So he also knows what I have. So we're both like reading the back row perfectly. Like I read his Torrential, he read my Mirror Force, or like my Battle Trap, you could say. So I brain control his Swap Frog. I do not want him to every turn summon Junk Synchron and bring out a guy and pass, because then he just like revives his graveyard for free and he just gets all these pluses. So this is the first time you are seeing this from me, but I'm tributing for a Caius face down, and I have a second one, so I don't really feel like bad for doing it. So he goes Junk, E-Call, make Brio. So up here I'm like, okay, what's about to happen here? He pitches, bounces the Raigeki Break, pitches, bounces the Mirror Force, vanish on Malicious, bounce my monster, play Miracle Fusion, but it is not game. This is 3,000, this is 31, it's 6,100, and I'm at 6,200. So I was like, okay, well, this is all fine. You drop me really low, but like I don't die. Okay, so we have some cleaning up to do. I have a really defensive hand anyway, which he knew because I had 2 traps when he used Bryonic, so like I'm not really afraid of dying anymore, except to maybe a Caius off the top. So I just have to keep that in mind. But I go Caius, get rid of the Bryonic, attack over to Malicious, deal some more damage. Now his life points are pretty low. Set my 2 back row, Mirror Force and Raigeki Break. He brings back Frog, attacks. I'm going to Mirror Force him. So yeah, I guess because I'm at 100, it made sense for him to bring back Treeborn Frog. But yeah, I get rid of everything. And then like Raigeki Break, pop your monster, summon Vanity's Fiend. GG. So yeah, game 2 was really good. Oh. Okay. Game 3, I brick again. Like really bad. So games 1 and game 3, my hands are just really bad. And I'm glad that if I have to brick, I'm glad that it's happening now, like where no matter what happens this round, I still top. Because this hand is fucking terrible. Oh, yeah, I had to correct him. He tried to extra normal summon twice because he bounced 2 Swap Frogs this turn. But I was explaining to him, like, you can't do that. You only can get Swap Frog once, no matter how many times you bounce Swap Frog to your hand. You can't, like, bounce, extra normal summon, bounce another Swap Frog, extra normal summon. You can't do that. So he tried to do, like, substitute, dupe. And this field looked incorrect to me. Because you never see 2 dupe frogs in attack mode on turn 1. Like, that's really, really hard to do. So I realized like, something is wrong here, and I looked at the log and I saw that he extra normal summoned twice, so I corrected it. He was like, oh, I didn't really know that you could do that, or like that you couldn't do that. But we just have a long back and forth, and eventually, you know, we get to my turn. So here, I thought, this isn't fast forward, but I thought for a long time before doing this, because I'm reading that he has Spiritual Water Art set, which is why I soul exchanged a dupe frog. I also thought about setting Brain Control as a way to, like, if he Spiritual Water Arts me, I can flip Brain Control and take the substitute and then get my Treeborn access. But my hand is so fucking bad. And he opened up Rhoda 1-for-1. So he has a Bounce Stratos in his hand, and like, we're just down horrendous. I don't think I can win this game. He changed water art, and I immediately scoop. I don't even want to play this out because, again, we're not actually playing for anything except seeding, which, seeding doesn't actually matter in Top Cut because you don't get any advantage for being a higher seed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there's no advantage to being the #1 seed. In fact, Daime is now 8-0 in Swiss, right? But he loses top 16 immediately. So it's like, there's no advantage to going undefeated in Yu-Gi-Oh! Unfortunately, like, they probably could change that, but there is no advantage to it. And I know I'm going to top, so I was like, you know what? I'm not even playing this game out. Like, it's a waste of time. And I don't think I'm going to win anyway, if I'm being honest, looking at my hand. Like, I just don't think I'm winning this game. So we decided to just say, okay, fuck it. Let's just go into top 16. Okay, on to top 16 against Indikid. And he's also playing frogs, but he's playing hero frogs. And honestly, after my round 8 match against Daime, I kind of realized that this deck that I'm playing is outclassed by hero frogs blatantly. Like, Hero Frogs, the fucking Absolute Zero card is just so insane. Miracle Fusion or whatever. It's too much. So I went into this match like, all right, I'm hoping for the best, hoping that he doesn't see too many Miracle Fusions because I don't think I can win if he does. Soul Exchange Substitute, really, really strong opening. And on full dupe block. So yeah, we have, and he's gonna mimic it and do his own thing. What just happened? Oh, he econ take my guy. Miracle Fusion, and look at what's happening. This is his fucking second turn. Look at how much pressure he's putting on me, and my hand is mid as hell. I have all these frogs, and he's Miracle Fusioning me on turn 2, which is a very common thing that hero frogs can do. So yeah, I'm in a bad spot already. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Like, Miracle Fusion as a card is just outrageous, and then he full dupe blocks me too. This is just bad. Like, everything about this is bad for me. I get Ryzed, like, yeah, this game is not really winnable. I'm at exactly 1,000, which means that Kai is his game, and he just declares the effect of Kai is in his hand to show me that he has it because I don't have an out to it. So yeah, that was game 1. There was really nothing to it. I got fucking destroyed. Game 2, our hand is much better. So I didn't want to use Spiritual Water Art because of the fear. Not only that, like, if he has Crow, it's really bad for me if I tribute this Swap Frog, and I learned my lesson earlier about just like you don't have to Water Art immediately every time you draw it, in my opinion. I think that you can wait, because like, what is he going to do turn 1 that I can't just use this on my Treatment Frog, right? Like, what could he possibly do turn 1 that's like so bad? And I have Gores. Well, to answer your question, what could he do turn 1 that's so bad is summon fucking Absolute Zero turn 1. So now I'm under pressure again because he's dealing a shit ton of damage. Yeah, so I'm down to 3,200 on his first battle phase. It's his first turn and he did all of this already. So we have some cleaning up to do. We're going to Dark Dust Spirit, kill everything, set the D-Prison. He Kai's his D-Prison, and he goes for game. Now this is where he fucks up. He attacks with he attacks with Kai's first right into my Gores. And he thought that he just won because he didn't even wait after he attacked with Kai's. He just assumed that like, I'm attacking for game and this is it. Probably because I didn't Gores last turn, but I think Goresing against Absolute Zero is a meme. Like, what are you going to do after you... Like, what are you going to do after you actually drop the Gores besides lose the Gores to Absolute Zero, basically? So he summons the Kai's and bounces it back to his hand, basically saying like, if I get another turn, I'll burn you for game. And there will not be any more turns. Also, I had this, so like that Kai's wasn't getting dropped. He said maybe a bit greedy, but yeah. So okay, game 3. This game is crazy too. Like, this is a crazy game. My hand isn't bad, and he is specialing out swap, normal draw, bring back. He's gonna set what looks to be Water Art. So yeah, Water Art, take my Raza. Go ahead, take my Raza. Now he knows that I have this play available and he did not take it away from me. So that tells me that he has an out already, but at this point I'm like down bad and I don't think I can afford to wait. Mirror Force. Yep, I'm going to Torrential on this Swap Frog. He didn't activate the effect of Swap Frog, so his Dupe Frog didn't miss timing. But I'm committing to a plan here of just, we're going to attack constantly with Vanity's Fiend and hopefully get his life points low enough where it'll matter. He goes Brio, bounce your guy. And he makes a mistake here and he discards, he uses Brio's effect to discard Soul Exchange. And then he realizes that he should discard his hero because he doesn't have a hero in the graveyard. So then he like discards the Malicious Edge after setting Miracle Fusion to get it in the graveyard. I'm going to take a shit ton again. I'm so tired of getting absolute zeroed for all my life points. So I am at 900, which means that a Kai's off the top literally kills me. So we have some plays here, I think, for a long time about this. Soul Exchange to Brionic. Tribute both. Set the Light and Darkness Dragon. Not summon, but set it. Because I need to use this Deep Prison, otherwise Light and Darkness Dragon will negate it. And I just have to hope that he blanks on drawing Caius right here. So he attacks. I'm going to Deep Prison. Zero will activate, which will cause Light Dark Dragon to die. Now here's where I messed up. I didn't realize that I had a Ryza in my graveyard. Like, I'm not even kidding. When I was playing this duel, I think I was so like nervous after he attacked me for 7,100 in one turn, and I just thought like, oh my god, he has Brio and Absolute Zero, and I'm down real bad. So when it was time to resurrect the monster, I brought back Swap Frog because I just literally didn't even notice I had a Ryza that he discarded turn 1 with Water Art. But then here's the crazier part. He doesn't attack it. Like, he could have attacked it with Stratos. So I think we're both like super anxiety here, super nervous for whatever reason too, because like this is just like an online tournament, but there's clearly some pressure happening here because both of us are playing, I think, less than our actual ability. And so he didn't attack my Swap Frog. I was confused. He probably was confused why I didn't bring back Ryza if he noticed it as well. This whole thing was just like a really interesting situation. I draw Caius, but I realized that like summoning Caius here is not exactly the best. So I could Caius his Treeborn Frog, attack over his Stratos, and leave him with Ocean. But if he draws a Monarch there, then I'm in a really bad spot because I'll just have like a Substitute in my hand. So I decided to go for the Substitute play because I have a Dupe Frog and I have a Death Frog in my deck, I'm pretty sure. Or like I have a Death Frog and another swap. So I can kind of go wide and save the Caius for when I really need it because I can't kill him with the Caius either. So I'd rather just hold it in my hand. Attack over Ocean because attacking over Stratos doesn't do anything. Attacking over Treeborn also doesn't do anything. So kill the Ocean and pray to God that he doesn't just rip a Caius or a Miracle Fusion, right? He has a lot of like, he has 2 Miracle Fusions and 3 Caius. So he has 5 cards out of 26 that flat out kill me. So I just have to hope that he doesn't see him. And he doesn't. He attacks over one of my Swap Frogs now. That Swap Frog should have died the turn it came out. So like, I just have a free Swap Frog still. Bring back Treeborn Frog. Now, I drew Raigeki Brick, and I don't want to plan to Torrential, just in case. Because we're in a great spot. Now we're in a spot where like, even if he draws Caius, I have Raigeki Brick to stop the effect from resolving and burning me for game. Draw for turn on Raigeki Brick his back row. And I think it's Torrential. Yeah, it is Torrential. So I played around it successfully, but yeah, I think both of us kind of messed up because he discarded Soul Exchange when he shouldn't have, and it would have mattered right here when he drew Soul Exchange with the Caius. I do have Raigeki Break set, so I would have just Raigeki Break the Caius so it doesn't burn. but I think the game would have continued. I drew Mirror Force, and this was a wild top 16 match. We were playing like it was the finals of something, and everything was on the line. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. It made me feel alive, if I'm being honest. Like, I felt after this game, I was like, holy shit, that was hard. And that was also just like tribute set for Lat was wild. Didn't see the Ryza, him discarding Soul Exchange, him not attacking the Swap Frog. Crazy top 16 match. So that kicks off top 16. That was wild. All right, let's watch top 8 now. So this is versus Pro Storm. I get a rematch against Pro Storm. So I already know it's Dragon Turbo. I'm dreading this shit already. The good thing is I do win the die roll this time. So okay. So we open up Dust Shoot. Amazing against Dragon Turbo. So I'm just gonna click show both because we're about to see his hand real soon. Summon out Dupe. I set MST in case he fucking has a Future Fusion. So put back his only monster. He almost didn't have a monster, which is crazy. He says, I think I'm cooked. But yeah, he doesn't set Reckless because if he sets Reckless, then he knows that like this will pop it no matter what, like Rageki Break or MST or whatnot, it will pop it. So he doesn't set Reckless here. And I don't care about this one Dupe Frog. I play 3. So we do our combo. We attack for 11. This is all we can do this turn. I could have specials out, Swap Frog, and tribute it for Lad, which honestly, I think I should have. Like, I think I should have just summoned Lad and said, fuck it, start attacking. But we'll see how it plays out. He only has 1 draw to kind of correct his hand. I felt a little comfortable. So he rips cards of consonants, which is like, I think that might have been the best thing there. Yeah, so things get a little crazy now. Now he goes heavy. Now he Future Fusions, and I'm like, wow, what a turn of events. So here's Lad. He does have double Reckless set. Card Destruction, Chain double Reckless. Then he's going to go activate Stone, Chain double Super Rejuvenation. So he draws a lot on the end phase. I summon Caius. Attack him below Instant Fusion, which is really relevant here. So now he can't play Instant Fusion, and he can't draw because of Reckless. So like, he's just drawing cards. He can't activate this card, which honestly the whole game I think came down to like he can't play this. And he loses. Okay, game 3. So my hand is not very good. Or no, I'm sorry, game 2. This is game 2. My hand is not very good, but I do have Dust Shoot, but like I have no pressure whatsoever. Like I still don't have Treeborn access, which is unfortunate. He deprisons my guy, which I don't like. I knew he had Mirror Force in his deck, but the deprison was like, holy shit. So yeah, I'm bricking really bad, and he is too, because he's gotten several draw phases and he hasn't done anything yet. Bottomless also caught me off guard. Like, oh, I guess I should do show both because I did trap dash him earlier, but like, yeah. Oh my god, look at this hand. This is such a meme. Oh god, but yeah, this game. This is a game of all time. This is a game of all time. So I'm pretty sure I'm cooked here. Like now he's officially drawing all these cards and shit. He lets his Drago die on purpose because it locks him out of using his broken ass hand. And yeah, now I'm just, he draws into the Prime Material. I did have Torrential, which would have been nice, but Prime Material is going to say fuck off. And we're dead. All right. Game 3. So we open up Water Art. Our hand is pretty good. We Water Art. Let's look at the hand. Take away cards of consonant. So then his hand is just like, he has a play. He could go Instant Fusion. bring out a 5-star, summon this synchro, make Brio, set Super Juve, discard the blue eyes that he searches, brown Super Juve, discard the Drago that he has in his hand, then play double Rejuve and draw 4. He could do that. He opts to not do that. So I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna get in for 400. Sairogeki break. He plays instant fusion. He tries to do it now, but now I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna pop his 5-star guy. But then he could crash main phase 2 into my guy, which is like not the worst. He goes future fusion for more blue eyes in the hand, but like now I knew he drew this because I knew his hand was before future fusion. So this doesn't actually do anything. Like if you look at his hand, it didn't do anything, and I have Ryza. So at this point, I'm like, wait, do I just win? Like I'm pretty sure I just win here, right? And this is just game. Like he can't do anything. Yeah, then I just summon Lat, and that's game. So we win top 8. This was also a nail biter set. It's always a nail biter against Dragon Turbo, I think. But we played this one a bit more cleanly than we did the top 16 match. And I also got my run back, which I always like getting a little run back. So we were able to take the dub when it mattered the most here. And we're moving on to top 4. So this round is pretty good. It ends kind of in an unfortunate way. But you'll see. I think that there's things to take away from this though. So we open up pretty decent hand. Like this is this is a good hand. I like this hand. We have Treeborn access. We have our RMC Hunter. I know he's playing Blackwings. He size triple mask restrict, which is like scary, but I do have a lot of cards that out it, like Dust Tornado and Regeki breaks in my side deck, so it's not the worst. Summon Shura attack. So I go for Caius. The reason why I'm trying to Caius this immediately is because I don't want Blizzard to be live. I could have soul exchanged it. I could have gone for like a substitute play, but then that plays an Icarus attack if he chains it and all that. So I'm like, I can just Caius this now, and we'll worry about sub blocking and dupe blocking and all that stuff later. We get in for the full 34, which I'm like, holy shit, nothing was it? No bottomless, no deep prison, no mirror force, nothing? Like we just get in for 34 like that? Cool. So he activates Legacy, Whirlwind, Sirocco, special. This is bad. This is so fucking bad. Yeah, he pumps, drops my life points really low, makes a Thought Ruler Archfiend, which my hand can handle. Like I have Torrential, so and that way I can deal with it, but you'll see what happens. So I brain control the Bora, summon Substitute. Just going to do a sub combo for Unifrog. Unifrog is going to attack. It gets through. So this back row here has been sitting there since turn 1. This is the new one. We're going to pop the Whirlwind because we just can't afford for him to keep searching. And like, to be honest, I really don't want to torrential my field. If he did summon a monster here, I don't want to have to torrential because unless he's summoning a regular monster, but torrentialing otherwise would mean that the dupes will miss timing. Like if he summons Blizzard, for example, if he summons Blizzard, then I guess I could wait for, it's so awkward. I could wait for him to bring back the monster and then torrential there, but I don't really have any gas and I'm at 1600, which is extremely awkward. And bringing back Treeborn Frog at 1600 is also awkward. So like if I torrential here, basically what I'm getting at is that at 1600 life points, right? If I torrential and my next turn, I don't even know what I could draw, but like on my next turn, if I bring back Treeborn and summon RMC Hunter, I'm in a bad spot because Blizzard kills me. It makes Armwing. Bora kills me because it's exactly 1600 over Treeborn Frog. Not bringing back Treeborn Frog means that the RMC Hunter is fucking useless. It's a 1800 vanilla. So this entire situation is just really awkward for me, having this here. So we draw a Lad, but we can't, like we can, but we can't tribute for it because if he plays any back row, if he uses literally any back row, I'm screwed. Like Lad will drop down to 2300 and then it will crash into the Thought Rule Archfiend for a huge life gain for him. So we try to just go for Unifrog and it goes through, which I was like, okay, that's great. So we pop his new back row, it's bottomless. Gonna bounce this to my hand. He sets a new back row. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know why he set the bottomless last time, but like, sure. Because I already popped the whirlwind. He knew I had the Unifrog, so like he's setting back rows into my Unifrog, and I just keep pop. So now I pop that one, which is Starlight Road. So now I go summon RMC Hunter. He chains Unifrog, or chains the Unifrog's attack MST to pop my set Torrential. I attack over his set value, so he would have had a live value, but because RMC Hunter touched it, it will no longer ever be able to activate. He sets a back row. I go Soul Exchange. He negates. I go Soul Exchange. He negates. I go enter battle phase, attack. He mirror forces, and then while we're still in battle phase, I take his Thought Ruler. Since he only has 1,000, he can't negate anymore. So basically, what you just saw was that the Unifrog carried that game. Like literally, Unifrog popped like 3 or 4 cards. I think, yeah, 3 or 4 cards, and it also brought his life points down to where Thought Ruler could not negate 3 cards. So literally, Unifrog soloed that one for me and came back. Whirlwind, summon out Kalut. Once he makes Armwing, I'm like, oh, I'm getting deck devastated, and my hand is really bad for deck devastation virus, unfortunately. It's crazy because, like, if I just happen to have Treeborn Frog in my hand, which is the same chance that he has to have Whirlwind in his opening hand, like it's a 2 of. If I have Treeborn Frog, my hand is fucking nice, but I just don't have Treeborn Frog, so this deck devi is going to kill me. Yeah, and this is basically a non-game. Like, I'm under deck devi. He already Whirlwind Shard. He has a lot of cards. RMC Hunter gets deprisoned. I'm at 32, so this doesn't kill me, so I can actually just, like, take both. He's going to take some damage. So at this point, I'm living on a prayer. He does opt to Torrential on the Swap Frog effect. Summon Blizzard, attack for game. I'm going to Regeki Break. He knows I have Regeki Break. He Solemns, and that is game. Okay, game 3. So I open up a hand that has way too many frogs in it, again. Which is really unfortunate because I play a shit ton of Tribute Summons, and I only have 1 in my hand. I could turn 1, go like Special Swap, summon Substitute, but the problem with that is, and this is something that, like, as a frog player, if you play this like long enough, you'll realize against Blackwings, it's good to make their Sirokkos dead as much as you can. It's like actually a win condition for frogs. When you put a monster on the field, when you end your turn on like a dupe block or a sub block or whatever, you open yourself up to a couple things. You open yourself up to deck devastation virus, because all they have to do now is go set Sirocco, set deck devi, and they can guarantee make your dupes miss timing when you bring back Treeborn Frog. You're going to do something. If you do anything, right, you have to do something. They go Chain Link 1, whatever you did, Chain Link 2, deck devi, your dupes miss timing, they deck devastate you, right? So your dupe block turn 1 doesn't really do much if it gets fucking blown up and misses timing and you lose all your other cards. The other thing is, like, you open yourself up to Icarus attack as well, in the same way, where they could set anything, like set a value, set a Shore, set a Bora, set whatever, and then set Icarus attack, and then when you do something, they go Chain, Icarus, pop your 2 dupe frogs, they both miss timing, and now all their blizzards are alive. And like, if you tried the Monarch the monster and they do that, then it's just, the whole thing is bad. So I think it's good practice to try to keep them off of Sirocco as long as you can, reasonably can. So I go summon Substo because I have multiples, I don't need all of them. Summon Swap, Sentryborn, pass. And he doesn't do anything, which for me is actually really good, because I just drew a lad and it's live. I'm just going to special summon my guy, tribute for lad, attack. So this is a really good situation for me because my opponent doesn't have a card in the field, and there's only 1 card that he could have that would punish this for real, and it's Gale. So if he doesn't have Gale here, like, this is actually insane. Like, if you think about Blackwings, look at the whole Blackwing deck. The only way to get rid of this is with using multiple cards, unless you have Gale. So, unfortunately, he does have Gale. He goes Sirocco, Gale. He activates Gale's effect. It gets negated, so this guy drops to 2300. And he kind of messed up here, but he should have activated Sirocco as well to drop him to 1800. But he doesn't. So this guy's still 2300. He's going to make a Thought Ruler and attack me for 400. So he should have gotten 500 more damage, because if he activated Sirocco, it would have gotten negated by Lad. But really unfortunate, because Gale is like the only thing I can think of that actually outstat Lad with 2800 attack like that. Like, nothing else does that if you think about it. So he makes Thought Ruler, and I'm like, okay, I have a Ryza already. I'll bring back Substitute, because I could do Substitute combo, basically. But standby phase, he immediately activates DDV, which is like, holy shit. So now it's Gale plus the DDV. I have a lot of frogs. As you can see, it's 4 total like froggy cards. So we're just going to attack for 18, set prison. I draw a heavy. Attack for 18 again. So this is bad, obviously, but like, it's not as bad as it could be. But he does have more cards than me. He MSTs my known. Deprison, attacks with Shura, gets a Kalute, sets 2 back row. He knows I have heavy. Now he knows I have torrential. High heavy, he has solemn, which I was like, okay. So now he's at 2200. I don't want to summon Ryza yet. If I attack Shura and he Kalutes from his hand, RMC Hunter won't die, because I have a Treeborn Frog, so I can just send the Treeborn Frog to the graveyard, and it'll negate Shura anyway. So I'm like, yeah, kill this thing, or try to kill it anyway. He deprisons. So then I sack for Ryza. I spend the Shura to the top, because I'm definitely not going to spend a fucking Kalute to the top while he has a Shura on the field. So now he just has a Kalute, and I do have a Torrential. Now here's the other part. I'm in a good spot here, technically, because let's look at his grave. So he could have Blizzard, which is what I would assume. He plays 3 of it. And Blizzard can bring back Gale, which can cut my Ryza in half, and then he could attack over it with his Blizzard plus Kalute combo. And I'm in a bad spot. And he has 2 cards. I know he's drawing Shura, but he has 2 cards that I do not know what they are. And in real time, I'm like, okay, it's very likely that he has 1 of 3 Blizzards here. And I'm just going to hope to God that he doesn't have a Kalute here. But this game is a game of worst case scenario. So he knows about the Torrential, but he still summons. And it's because he has a Sirocco in the grave. So like, even if I Torrential here, okay. So he summons this. And he attacks, and I'm like, wow, he actually has the Kalute. So his last card in hand is the Shura that I spun. So he actually had Kalute. So he's so literally, like, everything that could go wrong in this game, everything that could go wrong from the opening hand with like 4 frog monsters, to the Gale to defeat the Light and Darkness Dragon without going minus, and also gaining 2700 or 2800 back, to the having the Kalute. It's just been like the deck heavy, everything. It's just been like a really, really, really bad situation for me. Because the reason why it's so bad is because he knows about the Torrential, and he's not going to, obviously he's not going to commit into it now. So yeah, this whole thing just sucks. Like, this whole thing just sucks. So I'm just getting attacked. And then he in-phase Icaruses me, and then he has a live value, and then he still has that Shura that he never summoned. But he could do this as well, just pump and attack for game. So yeah, that was a really unfortunate situation. Like, the sequence of things that happened in top 4 were just really specific to what I was doing. But honestly, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, if you played enough, you know how it be. It do be like that sometimes. I'm sure I've definitely done the same thing to someone at some point, where like I have exactly the hand that counters their hand. Like, even if your hand isn't necessarily a broken hand or a great hand, if it just counters your opponent's exact hand, it's a great hand, right? So my hand got countered perfectly, and he moves on to the finals. The finals was won by Virus Vayu So he played against Virus Value in the grand finals, and he lost to that. But it was a hell of a run for both of us. Yeah, I enjoyed this tournament. This was really good practice for me. It was good to try out this deck in a tournament, the Stun Frog deck. And I almost got to the finals. I mean, I think if I got to the finals, I had a good chance. I mean, you always have a good chance if you get all the way there. Clearly, you're probably playing decent enough, and you're also lucky. So, but yeah, this was a lot. I know this is a very long video because I went so deep into Top Cut. But I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you learned something. I learned a shit ton in this event. And that's kind of what it's all about for me, since I do not play casually. I do not just like play games for fun. I pretty much only play Yu-Gi-Oh when I play in tournaments at this point, because there's so many tournaments to play in. So for me, tournaments are playtesting. This is where I learn things. This is where I become a better player, is by playing in tournaments. And I also like watching replays and stuff. So that's how I got better. And yeah, I think that's everything I want to say. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.